for stupid reasons. I've been targeted by literally thousands of people. Thousands. All over a little tag called mentally ill that magically takes all your rights away. When you're called mentally ill, they make you turn in your predators to your fucking predators. And then they call you crazy. I shouldn't have had to, well, first of all, with that officer in Tacoma, Washington, who wanted to help the man who stole my evidence. Officer Schneider wanted to help that man get away, and he did. And when I tried to turn in Officer Schneider, the lady played mentally fucking retarded. Are you gonna talk to Schneider? No, I'm trying to turn the motherfucker in. That's the thing. I needed a place to process that fucking evidence. And I needed help turning it in. I cannot turn it in by myself because of that little tag called mentally ill. Because of that little tag called mentally ill. Robert Franklin Mornick got away with not only threatening my life and threatening violence against me repeatedly, he got away with assaulting me not once but twice. Oh yeah, and I was sent to prison for trying to turn him in. God bless America, you pieces of shit. And then there's, of course, my quote-unquote friends. All these people who said things to me that I got recorded and typed things to me that I saved. They were telling me things they weren't telling anybody else. Literally, nobody else. And of course, they were sending me stuff that was evidence that, well, they weren't speaking out about that evidence or helping me to show it to anyone. They were just sending it to me, knowing that I can't turn it in alone. I needed their help turning it in. I needed them to turn it in, not for me, but with me. That is literally the only way to do it, and literally not one single human being in the last 6 years has actually tried that. Not one has actually tried. There's also the whole people trying to play pocketbook lawyers. Like they're magically lawyers. They say, oh, I can't help you, Sean. I'm not a lawyer. You don't have to be a lawyer. You're a fucking witness, dumbass. The cops outright slandered my name repeatedly over and over and over again. That's what I got. That's what I got for doing the right thing. And I was trying to do the right thing before Natalie was killed too. I was trying to get a stop to the fucking violence. I was tired of having to go to friends who were strung out on meth like Andrew Witcher. I was tired of being fucking victimized and nobody fucking caring. All of these people telling me, hey man, if you ever need me, man, thank you. You saved my life. You saved my kid's life. You did this. You did that. Man, if you ever need me, let me know. And all I needed them to do was tell the fucking truth. You notice the stuff that they wanted to, well, of course, all of these people want to go out of their way. They don't want to answer any questions. Instead, they want you to answer questions, and you owe it to them to answer those questions. They want to bully you. They're not going to answer yours. That's because they know that if they answer my questions, and they do so honestly, they're going to prison. Also, I already have them recorded, admitting to those things. In many of these cases, I have the actual situation itself with that person and I in the same fucking room. And it's recorded. Why is it people don't want that stuff on YouTube and Facebook? I wonder. I can't do these things for myself, so I have to trust someone to help me with these things. The people who work for the government, they aren't going to listen to me without someone there saying, hey, this is fucked up, and this is obviously against the law. Why the fuck are you guys committing crimes to prevent from turning in criminals? Why the fuck are you committing felonies to cover for bad fucking cops? Why the fuck aren't you admitting to the public the things that you know? Shannon Alvarado, instead of arguing with people on Facebook, that's all she wanted to fucking do, is argue with people. Of course, you get on there, oh, Sean is the sweetest, blah, 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 blah. You know, I really am. That is who I really am. But I can't be that person, because that person was never fucking heard by any of you son of a bitches. All those years out on the streets, even with a job, it's not enough to get unhomeless. And I see all these fucking stupid women out there who are going out of their way to get the most pathetic male that they can mate with. And then their life goes to hell and they're getting beaten all the fucking time. Throwing away lifelong friends over a bad boy because you're attracted to a bad boy. That ain't my fucking fault. Who's the motherfucker that you guys always call when you need rescued? Me. Well, ain't none of you calling me for a rescue anymore, are you? Good reason for that, huh? After you do the shit that you did to me, yeah, it makes perfect sense why you wouldn't call me for help anymore. All of you guys, every one of you has a choice to look away or to get actively involved. The people who got actively involved were all predators towards me. None of the people who actually got actively involved in this were people who were quote unquote helping me. Shannon Alvarado didn't fucking speak up about the situation with Kara Johnson Miles, not on Facebook, not on YouTube, not in real fucking life, except to me. Of course, her evidence is sound, but Shannon Alvarado needed to fucking speak up about that, because she never bothered to try, because she knew that this stuff was happening. Not only did she know it was happening, she's the one who took the screenshots of the evidence and sent that evidence to me, but she never tried showing it to the media. She never tried making any phone calls with me. She didn't try turning that shit into the cops. She just wanted to fucking argue, just like Chelsea Aiken. Oh, you can't tell the truth because you got your own shit going on? All I'm asking for is honesty. The help you need. Goddamn connection issues. No matter how many times I explain to them that I'm disabled, I can't do the things that they are suggesting over and over and over again, sometimes forcefully and sometimes violently. But in all of these cases, I had to go into environments where people who have been known to be predatory towards me and others, and they're fucked up on substances. And these are the people I got to go to for help. Because my family didn't care. But then again, that's not any better of a batch to fucking pick from. Look at how much my little sister and her friend took me for. In addition to the abuse that I had to endure, the evidence that was destroyed, if I set down boundaries, you break them. Like Gary Bardwell and Shannon Alvarado, Rick McCormick, When these people are fucking evil and mean and fucking vermicious towards me, you make every excuse. No. They took advantage of an at-risk adult in a fucking subservient environment. Giving somebody a sandwich doesn't fucking repair that. If your sister was raped, would you want her to be treated this way? If your sister was raped, would you promise that you're going to go in with her for 8 months while she's being abused as if she's the rapist? Now I want you to imagine, not a woman rapist. I want you to imagine they treat her like a male rapist. I want you to pretend that your sister is treated like a male rapist. I want that to go through your head because she tried to turn in the man that raped her. Does that fucking register to you? Now let's imagine that your sister had gone to you repeatedly about this situation before and you had always blown her off because you didn't have the time. In 6 goddamn years, if you actually fucking give a shit, you will make the fucking time. If these people can argue with me from 1 to 4 hours straight on the phone, on multiple occasions, then yes, they can actually make a fucking effort to tell the goddamn truth. They knowingly, willingly, and intentionally withheld evidence of my innocence. Why did they do that? Because there are certain lies that you tell about somebody and people run for the hills. They don't want their name associated with it. But then you got game players like Shannon Alvarado. All that evidence that she sent to me, she needed to post up in public. She needed to post up in those Natalie Bollinger sites. Instead of telling people, oh, what a nice guy I am, shut the fuck up, Shannon Alvarado. We have heard that enough. The 400th time your drunk ass fucking said that, we heard it. Someone called Lone L Shallow typed, how do you feel about the Queen's death? I don't give a fuck about the Queen. That's the problem with all you fucking pricks. You give a fuck about the rich and famous. You care about Will Smith. You care about Queen Elizabeth II. You care about Johnny Depp. You don't give a fuck about your goddamn neighbors. You don't give a fuck about the disabled people who are forced onto the streets. These are the easiest people in the fucking world to goddamn victimize. And then you put all of our predators out here with us. And then you call us crazy. You call us mentally ill when these people rape us and beat us and fucking murder us. You call us crazy when we fucking speak out. %40 of schizophrenic people here in the United States were misdiagnosed. Most of them were homeless. Most of them were trying to turn in cops. I want that to sink into your tiny fucking primate brains. Because you want to be an ignorant asshole, but you want the right to judge others and to pass judgment on them and to harass them and to threaten them and to destroy every part of their lives through slander, assaults, and threats. And then you want to treat me like I'm a horrible person for screaming at the top of my fucking lungs for help. Now that's the part that you guys use to pretend I'm a bad guy, because I screamed at the top of my lungs for help. I didn't actually break the law until after Natalie was already fucking dead. But it didn't matter because none of the police involved followed the law. Tim Beeson didn't follow the law. Natalie Bollinger didn't follow the law. Alicia Bollinger didn't follow the law. Maddie Boa didn't follow the law. And none of their little fucking druggy buddies followed the fucking law. Meanwhile, I can't turn them in because I'm homeless, and police hate the homeless just like the rest of the fucking country. Police know, just like serial killers know, that if they want someone to victimize that nobody's going to care about, they better go after a homeless person. Homeless. When we're murdered by exposure, like these Native American women, nobody gives a fuck about us. We're not the right color. We're not the right gender. Or, of course, we don't live in a fucking house. Are these Native American women really fighting for the homeless Native Americans out here? Fuck no. MMIW doesn't give a shit about them. Any more than BLM gives a shit about the homeless black people. What they give a shit about is the statistics that come from those homeless people. BLM absolutely cares about the statistics for homeless black people, and do you know why? Because only about 10% of the arrests of black folks, sorry, that is incorrect, not 10%. 81% of the black folks nationwide who were arrested and sent to prison were homeless when they were arrested. 81%. That's a matching statistic to Caucasians, just so you know. 81%. 81% of those incarcerated today were homeless when arrested. Then we've got the mentally ill tag, which is used to discredit the victims. How many of you had to keep your mouth shut when your mom and a sibling were having an argument? You knew your mom was wrong. But of course, she gets to say, well, you're mentally ill, you're mentally ill, you're mentally ill. And you know your sibling wasn't diagnosed with mentally ill. You were fully aware at that point in time that your sibling was diagnosed with something that wasn't their choice to have to begin with, that they can't just turn it off. You can't just turn off your reaction to long-term abuse. I will always be afraid of women. Always. Because of this. Because of how evil we have taught them to be in the United States. How we have taught them they can go out of their way to destroy other people's lives because drugs are more important. Yeah, Natalie Bollinger thought she was in love with me, but she was damn sure in love with her fucking heroin and her methamphetamines. She just wanted her family to love her. I know that feeling. Every time I think about my family and friends, who I actually do love, who I wouldn't just stand by and fucking watch these things happen, and all of them know it, and every single one of them stood by and let it happen to me. Those who are involved want to pretend they don't even know me. They believe it's in their best interest to allow these lies that I'm being abused over to stand, like Joanna Taylor Smith, of course. You know, when it actually made a difference, when people could have actually done something to make a fucking difference and stop this before it ever happened. If any of these people actually cared about me, that's what they would have done. Now that's what all of these calls show too. These people didn't care about me, they just wanted to talk about themselves and their own problems and their own bullshit and use that as an excuse not to tell the fucking truth. Now Chelsea Aiken, I didn't go to her about the situation with Natalie maybe once or twice before Natalie was killed. But holy shit, I gotta tell you folks, I got a lot of recordings with her that are not public. There's a lot of recordings of Penny Cooper that show crimes that she committed, including intimidating a victim. That's not her job. Also, these people do not have the right to refuse to be recorded. That's one of the things about them taking our government's money for the services that they're not providing. They didn't do their jobs. Nobody did their jobs. When you tell these people about the abuse that you're going through, and you have the intent, and you're literally telling them that you need help turning it in. This is a mandated reporter that you're telling, and they're playing stupid, like Marcia Estrada. Are you sure you think you'll find someone to represent you? Marcia Estrada, you have to help me turn this in by law. The law says you have to. It's not a fucking option. Just like with Dallas Richmond, with the abuse. It was not a fucking option. Just like with everybody at Hanson's Texaco. Just like Andrew and Amy Witcher. It was not a fucking option. They all failed to follow Nebraska law. Brenda Dickinson, Dennis Dickinson, Lori Dale, Candace Bondurant. Man, all these people. See, that's the thing about Candace Bondurant. She worked at a hospital, and her specific position did make it a requirement of her job to help turn this in as a mandated reporter. When I tell you I always told someone, I kept evidence that I always told someone. When I tell you I did everything in my power to try to force these mandated reporters to do their jobs, up to and including breaking the law because people were being fucking murdered. Yes, I had to break the law because the truth would have stopped the fucking murders. But no, you don't give a shit. Who do you care about less than black people? Everyone. Right now, black people are our golden children. You know, I see black folks perpetuating this racism more than white folks. And we see cops not doing a goddamn thing about that either. Unless they can find a scapegoat. And that's fucked up too, because black people are human beings, but so are white people. It was never about following the law. Because they called me mentally ill, they were able to literally have court without other people in the room. No court observers. Nobody there to fight for my fucking rights. Now, the situation does show negligence on all of these professionals. Negligence. It is criminal negligence. This is long-term abuse, and they not only turned a blind eye to it, they took part in it. And that cannot be tolerated. But it's fine because I'm a homeless, disabled male. You guys will look away because I'm a homeless, disabled male. They will target me because I am a homeless, disabled male. And they have been. And despite the fact that I have hundreds of homeless people recorded, many of them on my YouTube, speaking about these situations, how it's not just me. It's not a figment of my fucking imagination. Meanwhile, are sober people helping? No, sober people make excuses. That's all they do. Megan Messigatis is mandated by law in the state of Nebraska to do a very specific job. a job that she did not do. That's because everybody in Nebraska is a mandated reporter, including Leslie Snell, including Sean Holloway. That means that when I told them about the abuse by the sheriff, whether they work for him or not, they are required by law to turn it in. Tara Smith, the recording with her shows that she admitted to meeting with me once before. She claimed she couldn't remember any of it. It was a long time ago. Well, that's the problem with nobody actually helping. Somebody should have been there for me and my safety in that situation instead of two fucking goons that I was trying to turn in standing there. I tried to be as nice as I could to Bill Burr. He was only a tiny fraction of the issue at that point. That was after the situation 4th of July in 2018. Tara Smith did not do her job. 11 separate times, Dual County Sheriff's Department pressed false charges on me and locked me up and had to drop the charges, or had me locked up in an institution. And in all of these situations, every single one of them, it was for trying to turn them in and to turn in my other predators who they were helping out. Why wouldn't they? It's to their benefit to help sex offenders get away at this point, because Dual County Sheriff Scott DaCosta is looking at fucking prison time. We're not talking about a little bit of prison time. We're talking about that man will die in prison. That's going to happen. He is going to go to prison. And he is in a cell by himself, sex offenders. The only people who go to that unit are sex offenders and bad cops. That's because those people were murdered in prison. You get to hear these guys talking about how they had a cellie who was a chimo in prison. Well, you know what that tells me? That tells me that these guys were in there for sex offenses. You know how I know? Because the sex, that looks bad for the prisons. And even though most of you consider prisoners to be primates who probably should have been shot or hung, you just assume their guilt, there are humanitarians who believe that, well, some of them believe even those pedophiles should have rights. That's why pedophiles have rights and the homeless don't. More people care about pedophiles than the homeless. And then you treat the homeless like they're pedophiles. And then the pedophiles and the rapists, when they want somebody that they can get away with raping and nobody's going to listen, they go pick who? A homeless person. And they don't just target women, by the way. We live in a fucked up world, but it's your fault it's fucked up. What, you're gonna let 5 people tell 375 million Americans what they can and cannot fucking do? Because, I mean, really, whether we have 400 people in Congress or 4, we're still gonna get an outcome. And we're still going to have an opposition. Command structure at the top isn't much different from at the bottom. It's just the command structure at the top is just a few people. Command structure at the bottom is a lot of people. What we're dealing with here, folks, is a war against the poor, where we're allowing those 5 people to control all of our resources to hunt us. Over half of the United States lives below the poverty line, but they live above the credit line, even if just barely. It's credit that keeps people alive here. It's credit that keeps people here from losing everything, because, well, Great Britain actually has a lot more in place to help their people to prevent them from ending up in this situation. In the United States, ain't no such thing. Not even the pension is guaranteed. Not even your retirement from Social Security is guaranteed. I'm down to 5% battery, so I'm gonna end the video. Somebody typed something, but I can't read what it is. I took a screenshot of it, so I'll read it when I can turn my phone back on. I gotta get something to drink. Good to be ready. Thanks for coming to visit. Stay out of trouble or don't get caught. Remember, you are your brother.